We're back again with another umpiring edition of the In-Depth. We've got Richmond and Geelong in a head-to-head with the Tigers really needing a win to get their season moving forward after a scrappy old start. The umpire counter is back with the inclusion of non-paid decisions, and if I'm being honest, I won't be able to pick up on every single non-decision because I don't have the resources to do so, and at that point, nitpicking is not my job. To start us off, Samson Ryan in the ruck contest, getting pushed out is the correct decision. Now this is an iffy one. Martin in the contest with Blitzarves, and there is a slight shoulder and arm grab which could definitely have been paid, so we will be throwing this one in the non-paid decisions. The screen cuts away a little for this holding the man on Tui, but I don't mind Cochin actually trying to have a go at the tackle as it was a very bang play. I guess pushing the back might have been the better call to go with. Even still, I don't think Cochin would have been able to pull up in time to avoid making the tackle, let alone giving away the free kick. Play on. Torano has himself in a pickle after gaining possession, tackle laid by Duncan, and Torano misses his boot as he goes to kick it, which usually calls for incorrect disposal. However, the umpire deemed this as attempting to correctly dispose the ball, which voids this decision, making this the correct call. Parfitt gets caught high while in possession. Easy call this one. Bolter has a massive brain fade after marking the ball, not realizing that Dempsey is right behind him to lay a tackle and put off his kick, which lands in the lap of the opposition about 35 out from goal. I get that he was trying to move the ball on fast, but you've got to know your surroundings as a defender, and to play on in a manner as he did shows the lack of awareness he had after marking the ball. Taranto was slightly held after possessing the ball, and again there was a hold on Taranto, but I've seen a lot worse paid. It looked like Kolajasny just wanted to move him to the side and continue with the ball, but again he did hold on to him without possession and swung him around at least once. Benefit of the doubt to the umpire. Myers gets a hold of Baker, who's had prior, doesn't release a handball, and is pinged for holding the ball. Rewell catches Atkins high around the shoulder while laying a tackle, and this was not called. Definitely around the shoulder, but not paid. Cameron now holding on to Bolton after he releases the ball, swings him around and holds on a little bit too long, although most of this off screen. Atkins crumbs a ball and tries to spin around, but the umpire calls for a ball up. But surely if you can do a spinning pirouette, you've had prior, and this should be called holding the ball. He does attempt to handball it out and is instantly tackled, so maybe that's what the umpire saw since it's all quite fast paced and we're lucky enough to slow it down, so I guess benefit of the doubt on this one. Straight after, in the next contest, Atkins crumbs it again and is dispossessed, this time with much more prior as he held it over his head and is about to release it to then be tackled without disposing it correctly. Holding the ball, prior opportunity, should have been paid. Prestia bangs home the goal, which doesn't make up for the fact that this non-call was definitely there. Stewart drives a long high ball in the direction of a favouring 2-on-1 and Bolter is caught ball watching, running off of Hawkins for no reason at all. There was no chance he was ever going to make an interception at that point, and most, if not all of the time, the favoured 2-on-1 will prevail. And in this case, Tui is allowed an easy kick to Hawkins all alone about 20 out. This time, a 1-on-1 and Hawkins using his arms across the face of Bolter, resulting in a high contact free kick, which Hawkins knew was never going in his favour. Hopper took about 8 years releasing this ball, thought he had a little bit more time than he did holding the ball. Taranto picks up a free kick for being held, and I don't think that he thought that this was the case since he threw the ball to short when in fact it was his free kick. Looks to me like they both have their arms around one another, but the last grab of the jersey to pull him across is what the umpire would have seen to call this holding the man. I'm fine with this when both players are holding, so I will need to disagree with this decision. Bruin takes short high and the viewers are blindsided by this, and I want to trust the umpires, but we all know how that goes, so question mark for this one. Second quarter underway and we start off with a holding the man. Hopper tackled by O'Connor, who released the ball, and a late tackle caught the umpire's eyes. Not a whole heap in this one, and Hopper went to ground quite easy. Honestly, if these are the holding free kicks that the umpires will now start paying, there would be about 100 per game. Play on. Holmes grabs the ball and goes to ground, sliding on his knees, and McIntosh in chase supposedly gets him high. It looked like it was around the back of Holmes, but again, our vision isn't all that great. Pickett infringes Segler's arms in the marking contest. Straightforward call. O'Connor tries to fend off a tackle, but is caught without releasing it correctly, though this is blocked by Myers. Soon after, another decision not called with Rioli laying a tackle on Simpson, who did not dispose of the footy correctly, though had a genuine attempt for this not to be paid incorrect disposal. Tough decisions for this one, but most likely the correct call. Tui sort of fell on top of the ball, and only before it was too late did he try and dispose of it. This was a great play by Dempsey, who looked good all night until being subbed off. This play felt like he had been playing in the AFL for years, trapping the ball and keeping it in front of himself to then allow Smith to run in front to get the handball receive, and the eventual goal was quite wicked. Dempsey again getting a ball forward, Hawkins on the end of it tries to fend a tackle, but Rioli too strong, dispossessing him for holding the ball. Stewart with Mansell gives away a holding free kick, and live I thought this was fair and square a free kick, but looking back at the replay and vision later on, there was a bit of bodywork without any holding. Then Mansell grabs Stewart's left hand, holding onto it as though he is being held by Stewart, when in fact he just wanted to get touchy-feely with him, going to overturn this one. Kicking in danger, honestly I thought it was removed from the game, haven't seen this shit since 2013, didn't look too bad live, but the replay paints a better picture. Mansell's hands over the ball, and you don't want a broken finger from something like this, should be protecting the player, good call. For those against this, it wouldn't have mattered anyway since it would have been paid insufficient intent and been in Dusty's hands. This has to be the worst push in the back free kick paid. Prestia literally went on all fours before going to ground and Smith fell to the side to put the tackle on, so for this to be a push in the back is quite mad. This passage was actually insanely just fucking weird. Have a look. Ball going into the direction of Henry and Vlosten, I think it is there. Then Henry's arm comes over Vlosten, which could have been paid high contact. Then we've got Parfitt over the ball with Bolter's leg kicking him in the shoulder region. Could have been paid high as Parfitt didn't duck, just sort of fell over on the ball. Then a slight shove from Hawkins on Baker. Could have been a push to then McIntosh fending Hawkins, goes to ground while attempting to get it out. Does that, spills out to Simpson and out of bounds on the final call. Crazy to think that there might have been a few free kicks in that play, but you know what is better? That the umpire let things go on their own without any damage done to a player, which is what a free kick should be there for in the first place. Letting the action unfold without anything too implicating to a free kick makes the sport watchable and enjoyable and tense and what all the fans want. Roddy Gallier gives away a free kick for holding on Rewalt. Didn't need to do this since a favourable 2-on-1 was in play. Dempsey being held after releasing the handball, similar to the O'Connor one at the start of the quarter, but in this case the ball was clearly released and then the tackle was laid soon after. But again, if these were the free kicks they would usually pay, there would be about 100 per game. So we'll take the consistency at the moment, though I'd assume that there would have been a lot more holdings during this game that I didn't pick up on. Third quarter kicks off with a front-on contact free kick, just about the easiest call of the night. Not really sure what this Don is on about. Buse inside forward 50 picks up the ball, is balanced and steady, turns into Rewalt's tackle and is dispossessed for an uncalled holding the ball. Might be able to argue that the ball was dislodged in the tackle, but I'm calling for prior opportunity, not incorrect disposal, so it should have been paid. Hawkins in the middle with Bolter, who picks up a free for being held. Outpositioned and not the best kick forward, put pressure on Hawkins and gave away the free. Parfitt on the end of the ball gets wrapped up and is tackled but releases the ball directly out of bounds. Insufficient intent, good call. Cameron does a little chip kick towards the centre circle. Vlosten with his head over the ball is taken high in the Myers tackle, and all that work moving the ball forward undone as instantly as that. Cameron, in an attempt to get the ball forward, boots it along the ground and in the direction of the boundary line, which was paid insufficient intent. I get that the rule states that players are encouraged to keep the ball in play, but an attempt to gain ground coverage and push the ball towards your goals shouldn't be called insufficient intent, but the new rules disallow this from happening and is quite frustrating as a fan. Bolton being held during this throw-in, never took possession, but Bruin holding onto the jersey nevertheless and should have been paid. Atkins gets bowled over by Mansell and holding the ball is paid to Mansell. I'm not going to lie, I don't think there was a tackle involved in the play. Atkins definitely had prior, but Mansell never really laid a tackle, more of a bump push kind of thing, but it was awarded a free kick. Martin dispossessed for holding the ball, as easy as it gets. High contact on Myers, though he takes the mark, but the umpire pays the high free kick. Blitzarves gets taken in a dangerous tackle, but before this, his arm around McIntosh's head, basically in a headlock, and then is swung around in a tackle and hits his head on the turf. I don't mind these free kicks for dangerous tackles, but I hate when players actively go out of their way to smash their head into the turf to gain a free kick. In this case, if I slow it down, he lightly places his head on the ground and picks up the free. Baker is a little stiff in this contest, but drags the ball back into himself, and if you can't release this, then you will be pinged for holding the ball, as the player that drags it in needs to release the ball. McIntosh with a shank kick forward trickles over the boundary line, is paid insufficient intent. Even though this was a miss kick, at least it was paid similar to Cameron's, although a shank kick shouldn't be paid as insufficient intent because he wasn't trying to kick this out of bounds, and if so, then he has the skill to miskick the ball over the boundary line. This was a little block from the viewer's point of view, so unfortunately cannot say too much about this decision. Cameron infringes Broad with front-on contact with the arm on arm. This is a good decision. Stewart is laid on top of after not possessing the ball. Umpire paid a holding free kick, which was correct. Bolton is held without the ball, and if you've paid the other two holding the man free kicks, which I'll put up on screen side by side, then surely you'd have to pay this one too. Since I said play on to the others, this should be as well, but the umpire should have called it if they want to keep their consistency correct. A push in the back call late in the game favoured the Tigers and Dusty. Yes, it was too late for the Cats to win it from here, however, free kicks can still be paid up until the final siren, and in this case, I think a push in the back free kick should have been paid regardless of the mayo on top. Even Martin had a look at the umpire just to be sure, then the emotion from Tui and Duncan, absolutely dumbfounded. Replay shows that the two hands in the shoulder and upper back region, all for it if it's in the side and good bodywork, but in the back this was, and the call was missed. Lastly, Martin is taken high around the shoulder in a tackle by Stewart, which was there to pay. Richmond proving too good in the end and finally has strung a couple of wins together to reset their season back into play, and I think Lee Montagna said that if Richmond can somehow break into the finals, they will be a force to beat given their experience in finals, and I couldn't agree more. It will be a tough journey for them to get there, but if they do, they might have the same impact that the Dogs did in 2016. The called umpiring decisions moving to a 23-3-9 sheet, with the non-calls looking at a 4-1-6 sheet. More of a sloppier umpired game this week than last, but we will continue to gather the data as we progress. PlayOnAFL, things do better with fun and laughter.